Spirit. Happy weekend, beauty. My spirit groggy. Time to get up and get with the business of getting with the business. Hey, yeah. It's already been some interesting times on the YouTube streams and hunty. Yeah. Let's just talk about some things, right? Right now, low key, y'all know me. I'm early in the morning. I don't really want to fire up the like restream, the laptop, the whole kit and caboodle. Just want to talk and have this conversation about what I see in YouTube. Now, I've been doing this for a year now. Coming into this space, I saw the things that I want to talk about today and some other things that I've continuously spoken about. But yet, before anything else, please make sure that you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and share this with the people around you. And I don't care what Abba and Preach say. Go ahead and hit that notification sign, that bell, and hit that notification for all to get all of these things. Because real talk, I don't even get my notifications anymore, you guys. Ain't that some shit? I don't get notifications for my own content. I don't get notifications for um, most of the things that I actually enjoy. I have to go and seek those out. I can find all the hateful views and bullshit spewing that internet, that YouTube thinks black folks want. All the drama, all the love and hip hop angriness, all of that. In a New York minute, I can find it. Peaceful, happy, God fearing, real ones, black folks, hard to come by, my guys. So here I am, just having the conversation because I believe that we as a people need to begin to make sure that we support one another and give each other flowers early. And I don't believe that Black YouTube realizes that without Corey extension, many of us wouldn't be able to stream the way that we do. That young man's been out here, shit, seems like for the better part of his adult life. Excuse me, I'm gonna do a little screen writing real quick. It seems as though he's been out here almost all of his adult life just trying to show the world. At the honest truth, there is at least one positive, upstanding young black man in the world. And he managed to make it to 15,000 subscribers. 15 million, excuse me, subscribers. That's freaking phenomenal. He's a black prince in Victorian times type. Phenomenal. And if we're not careful, Black YouTube could coon him into non-existence, so to speak. You see, in some ways, this young man took a chance and put his platform on the line. And you got guys like, I think it's Mogul Mail, and I'm sure, oh, H3H3, those nut jobs are going to spin the narrative the way they want to. And there's a chance that none of us will corral around that young man and be there to support him. Now, in the light of day, you can see one like, Kwame Brown. You can see Abba and Preach. Yeah, I'm Stacy. Some of them are getting it, you know? You see, though, the YouTube moderators, the ones who help to make sure things get pushed out, verified, check, those things, my guess is that they are also hopeful content creators. And they got a particular set of biases. And they use their biases and microaggressions in this space to bully or steal from other content creators. Now, if you corral together and you talk about what they want you to talk about, and you move the way that they want you to move, then they're going to push you along in the system. See, most of Black YouTube, probably before last night or yesterday, didn't realize how many humans are actually coming into contact with their content. They really think that you turn this thing on, you hit that live, and tadar, you're a business owner. No, baby. You're an independent contractor inside of a business. In the same way that they can snatch down an Anton Daniels, or they can do hinky things with, Corey Extension, Kwame Brown, or JP the Aspiring Matriarch. It's real people behind the scenes doing it to you, too. Or will continue to. Could, if we don't stand up for one another. Am I saying that you have to agree with everything that everyone creates? No. Everyone should have the freedom to create the way that the system in the country system was written in says, right? We have freedom of speech despite being inside of a corporate entity. Diversity and inclusion only works if you are diverse and inclusive. My guess is the mod team at YouTube is neither diverse nor inclusive. And by that I mean they may look like me and you, yet their biases, what they anticipate good Black to be, that's something different. And we have to rally together and against that. Because if there is a good Black, there's a bad Black. And that's anti-Black. That's the motherfucking problem. Hands down. I'll say it for you one more time. If there is a good Black, there is a bad Black. And that's the problem. There's no one who can tell you how to be Black, live Black, move Black, work Black, do anything in this world with them extra drops of melanin in your skin. No one. No one can tell you what you've experienced in your walk on this earth to be able to recognize abuse and racism for what it is in real time and call it out. Now I will say this, Corey. One second. In some ways, Corey, you are the cause of your own problem. This is no knock really at you, young man. You were too young to really know anything else when you started out in this game, right? Yet let me say this. Your unwillingness to buck the system early on is part of the reason why the system was able to go on so one-sided for so long. I understand why. You played the game. You were politic while playing politics. I don't blame you. You made it a long freaking way. Yet, you're the shining Negro on the hill, Corey. You are the measure to which every other Black channel is measured in YouTube, whether you recognize it or not. Down from you, we get the panel channels like Cruise Season, Anton Daniels, Lapeef Network, that group. You all are the exemplars. These mods, outside worlders, and others believe, make up the embodiment of Black YouTube. And just as the way that I rarely talk about any of the shit that Corey talks about, Kwame, for that matter. We're all in the same audience profile because it's Black YouTube. And we need to understand our market share and how we can work together. Shout out to Markiplier. And here's where Mogul Mel got it wrong, you guys. In Mogul Mel's video, he discusses, the situation with Corey and Markiplier, right? And then he goes on to find another content creator whose name I cannot think of at the moment. Please forgive me, you guys. When we go on the walk and come back, if for some reason I'm still up to have the energy to do it, I'll fire up the restream and go ahead and show you his video. Otherwise, I'll do it later, or I won't. Hey, it's the beauty of being me in this space. So he found another YouTuber. What he did though, he found a white YouTuber who made jackass content and attempted to compare the situation with that YouTuber and Markiplier with Corey's situation and Markiplier. Here's the problem. It's apples and oranges. It's apples and oranges because the jackass content that you're talking about, most people see that as crap content anyway. So when that content creator and Markiplier were both dinged for it, and they're both white, no one gave a rat's ass. No one would have anyway. It was trash. They knew it. They weren't going to fight for it that hard. Now, back to the case at hand with Corey and Markiplier, and many of us in the content that we put out. It's not the same. Corey's content, the god doggone boys about his channel. When you go and look at his channel, the fella says, "I'm sorry, young man, for calling you boy." And especially since the man that I love is younger than you even. Still, I apologize. That young man's page says that he's trying to walk in a good example, be in God's image, so on and so forth. Okay? He's in this space trying to offer positivity. Video gaming. Horror video games. Listen, don't get me wrong. I ain't the way one of the ways that I came across this content is Daniel and what's it called? Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's reminds me of Chuck E. Cheese, and not actually Chuck E. Cheese. It reminds me of the other version that got shut down long before Chuck E. Cheese. The one that had the Showtime bears and shit. That one, those were really scarier than the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. So Daniel and I could relate through Corey's videos. I can relate to Corey, and by extension, one of my sons who chose to teach himself Japanese at 14 years old. I can relate to Corey, and I can see his effect on Jay Takashi. Whether Jay Takashi knows it in this space. He's paying attention to the craft, the tool that it is. That's YouTube. YouTube is a tool. It is not a business. At least not for us. It's a business tool. If you put all of your business on this one tool, what happens when it breaks? That's the question. Let's take a hit. we'll get my hat and we'll go for this walk. I appreciate you guys kicking it with me this morning. You can be anywhere. You chose to be here. Funny thing is people think, oh, Jay, hey, I'm glad to see you. The funny thing is people think all that JP does is smoke weed and play music and talk shit. Okay, that's how you consume my platform. I appreciate you. Please continue to consume my platform and share it with real people like me and you so that more people can understand it ain't never been just about smoking weed and having a good time. I'm here to entertain you. YouTube knows it. They've been watching since the first time I fired up a string. Some of you have too. And I appreciate that. So I'm going to continue to do what I do. Right now, we're going to go for this walk. Shout out to Wisdom or Quada or the Cubers or whichever pickup she's putting down these days. No offense to you, sis. I pretty much got one name in this thing, JP the Aspiring Matriarch, and a couple emails. Excuse me. Some remnants of oh yeah. No wonder I'm coughing like a crazy person. When the storms are really really bad, you guys, I mix up all the strains of weed that I have, and I pack a bowl. And this is the leftovers of that. It wasn't a full bowl when I started, so now I understand why I'm coughing the way that I am. Okay. Excuse me. Shut your mouth and drink your water, child. My goodness. All right. So we're going to hit this light. And we're going to go for this walk. So I put in the title, Is Your Black Good Enough for YouTube? Because one of the things that I've noticed, and I'm sure probably Corey, Kwame, a few others in the space, all sizes and platform purviews, uh, has said is that some of the people that we get the most pushback from or difficulty in this space is Black people. Hi, I'm back. Apologies, y'all. I be forgetting I have a lot going on when I want things to move quickly anyway. So, as I was saying, um, I started out pretty much August 2021 in this space, and most of the contact and the chatting that I did would have been in like the lead attorney sections of YouTube, right? Um, and the folks over there, college educated, uppity, we can teach you this, we can learn, we're gonna learn you up for sure, you know? And so when I started out and I first went live, they were some of my um, first subscribers. And some of you still are here. I presume you just don't say anything because, well, I be throwing shots. I was throwing shots back then, but today y'all feel like I be throwing extra shots. According to you all, I don't believe that I was throwing shots at anyone. I believe I was speaking the truth. But anyway, just the same. And so folks would tell me like, yeah, JP, no, I think you have great content. You tell me so many things about weed I never even knew. I would have never even thought that. And then sure shit, and they run off to their platforms, talk about the same things that I talk about early in the day without cannabis, without cursing, and their numbers go up and mine don't. Why? Because supposedly they're good Black YouTube. And I'm not. And yet, all those people learned something from not so good YouTube. Bitch, look at that. Oh, look at God. Okay. You can see it in a host of ways. You can see it in the way that they talk on the platforms. You can see it in, hi, Paco, good morning. You can see the way that their broadcasts are designed. You can see it in the fact that they barely change anything about the graphics that they copy from Canva. You're only as good as your teacher. And let's be clear, that's the teacher you claim. Most of them didn't claim me. Look at them now, running around in the BPT sector trying to figure out how to get the fuck out, talking about all kinds of things. Okay, go off. Perhaps, had you realized what you're now trying to do, be community, corral together, and all that jazz, was what I was talking about from the first place, gotten out of your ego, maybe into your super, or just remember that you are children and act like children, you'd be in different places right now. But you're not. You're stuck up under all kinds of terrible, angry, slowly shrinking content creators' audience profiles. Do you know why that is? Probably not. So I'm going to tell you. In your hurry to get to your 1,000 subscribers, to get yourself monetized, not have your own talking points or your own understanding of the YouTube algorithm, you have simply, by default and design, become an affiliate marketer for whomever the larger content creator is above you. So those of you trying to figure out why all of a sudden you've been pulled into the beef sector while you're playing Lepifian games, it's because your dear leader, the benevolent dictator, took your dumbasses down a wrong fucking path. Yeah, I said it. Old marketing, old understandings of new behaviors. Or are they new? Is it just that the people have come to understand what's actually important and valuable? Authenticity, genuineness, community, service to one another, above all else, because that is what the Creator asks of us before we can create in His space. But go off, be as Lepifian as He has been, do what it is that you will do. Run your race. The minstrel show and the clown cars. Slowly coming to a halt. Will the monkey ahead of you stop your show? Or will you ever find yourself a new shine? I don't know. I wish you could see Gary and Juliet getting down right now. You guys, so there are amazing dogs in this space. I appreciate y'all for being with me. And I apologize if you can't hear me over the street traffic. Amazingly, though, I'm not freaked out. And there was a time not too long ago when all of this noise on the street next to me would have had me full of anxious energy. Now I just recognize it for what it is. And I know that I'm safe. My physical still has moments and memories of the things that I've gone through recently. I walked around Tucson for almost 2 days, lost and alone. I got back home. The police brought me home. and then came back and kidnapped me out of my house, forced me into Banner Medical, where they treated me like a crazy person, like I couldn't possibly understand what was going on, like I couldn't be speaking truth, that I was dehydrated and malnourished, and there was nothing wrong with my brain, and that I had been mistreated by emergency medical services and the police department. No, I told them that I had been dragged down steps. They gave me an MRI, but they never once put a neck brace on. They didn't even make sure that I was lying flat at any given time. They took someone else's narrative, applied it to what they were witnessing, and held me hostage in the hospital for damn near 2 days. But we don't talk about it. No one's gonna do anything about it. Ain't that right, Laura Conover? You're not gonna come down off your high horse and deign to speak to me after I helped to put you in the position that you're in today. And much like being in this YouTube space, people expect for it to be okay. In the same day that it took for it getting personal for Corey and him almost losing his money for him to open his mouth, I suppose, Laura, it'll take that much. You almost losing or losing your goddamn job for you to remember that it was us who helped you get there. So from the little people to you motherfuckers who think you cannot speak until it affects just you, it's a new day. Everybody needs a dollar. And they're willing to bring you down for it to determine where you are, you know, in this good black, bad black, who has a right to black situation. Get on the right side of history, for you're martyred for history. Or you simply are history. Those choices are up to you. That's my thoughts on that. It's disappointing that this is what we're still experiencing and witnessing in 2022. Funny enough, it helps me to recognize why my sons thought that I should come into this space and have a conversation. I didn't understand it at first. So I was like, what the hell are they talking about? Let me look around and see what's going on in this space. It's the first year of active YouTubing, doing that. You know what I mean? Been watching YouTube for years, like everyone else. During the pandemic, the first part of 2020, it was my release just like everyone else's. You know, having discussions and seeing us being able to interact even though we couldn't be near one another. That was the beauty of YouTube in 2020. It was why a lot of people fell for shows like the Lapeef Network, uh, some of the others who had been around and trying and just hadn't yet picked up, right? And it stands to reason. I might just stop and get some more coffee and walk back around again, you guys. I actually feel pretty decent. Thanks for joining me. So it stands to reason that, you know, should they continue to stay on track, they would, you know, maintain a certain popularity, you see. Yeah, I didn't recognize then how young that platform itself was. And I didn't quite understand all of the makeup of the platform when I spoke about it last year. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say on that because that's how I got where I am. Like, I speak the truth, whether it be to content creators in YouTube, YouTube itself, people in the real world, politics, family, allies, fuck friendships. I speak truth to the powerful and the powerless. It doesn't phase me. You can't shame me. You can't keep me from showing up, putting in the effort, and putting in the work. So, ta-da. In that regard, excuse me, I speak to what it is. Oh, I see. And if I see it, our children see it. And if our children see it, they're going to want us to change it, or they're going to change to create change. And that's what we're witnessing in real time. The turn of generations, right? As many of our folks in their 80s, 90s, 100s pass, well, I may not walk anymore. That water in my tummy hurt. As more of our elders pass, that spirit, energy, and information has to go somewhere until it can go into another vessel. So you can say it's out in the ether. You can say our ancestors are present with us. Excuse me. Yet it's a change afoot. Our youngers, those who are in their 20s today, 20 years from now, they'll be parents of adults. So their adult children will see either more of what they've seen or the change that one can hope to implement. Hey, Mark Harris, how's your spirit? Uh, and so for me, it's pretty much that part. It's the idea that we've got about 20 years before there's no going back. These pandemic babies, as they're called, as they come of age, should they not witness us coming together as a people, as a community, as a society, something to affect change, they're going to lay waste to the village. They won't have any reason to fight. If the Bible says for some of you that you're born in sin, our children will be born into debt, a debt that they will not be able to buy themselves out of. Excuse me. Debtor's prison was and is a real thing. It's just today, we call it poverty. We no longer have poor houses, we have an entire poor class. We don't even call it Section 8 anymore, or any of those other terms. We give it some fancy ass title, like, what is it? Um, affordable housing. Huh? Affordable on whose salary, though? What do you got to do to be able to qualify? How good black versus bad black do you got to be? How much of your soul do you have to sell in order to be able to get there? A bit of both. Mark, you asked what the topic is. We were discussing the situation with Corey Kenshin, and his recent video yesterday about racism in YouTube, and how he finally witnesses it enough to say something. Again, Corey, should you see this? It ain't a shot at you. It's not a shot at Kwame. It's not a shot at anybody. Maybe Mogul Male, because he had the audacity to say, well, maybe I'm experiencing some of that privilege. Bruh. Perhaps I'm not the one to be speaking about racism. Dude, you think? Now, the question is, are you going to see some of these other black content creators and knowing that you probably aren't the best face to put on this shit, are you going to pull them forward? Or are you simply going to use Corey's name to extend your platform and your audience profile? Some of us out here understand how it works. Should you all start to talk badly about Corey, maybe we could all corral together, put your names in our titles and talk shit about you. Be careful thinking that we don't understand how the game is played. Some of us don't understand politics or politicking. Others of us are not new here. We grew here. Born to black, militant nationalists straight out of the deep south of Memphis, Tennessee. Baby, I am a different beast. Do not play with me. Recognize and understand me. I can be your ally, your adversary, or you can become my motherfucking enemy. And that's a problem for you. Never for me. I'm covered by a grace greater than any of you all can understand. As sure as earlier in this stream, I recognized and said to you, I went through a lot in February. And yet here I am, stronger than ever, louder and prouder and thankful more and more every day. Mark, you said it's bigger than that. It's been done. It's bigger than the people, JP. It's been done for a reason. Tell me about it, Mark. I recognize that there's something that they don't want us to see. They don't want us to know, amongst other things. This may be a diversion, a distraction from the actual action. Maybe this is the main show. You should understand something, Mark. We have been in a silent civil war for a long time. The rest of the world has been watching, trying to figure out what a black America is going to do, because they recognize that we are a nation inside of a nation. And should we come together and rise up, we can bring down colonization at its heart. Snatch out the hate right at its motherfucking core by weaponizing our vote and our voices against hypocrisy, against the insanity. And I apologize to you, Mark. Perhaps even against the current version of Christianity that's leading the minds of many today. Oh, I know, Mark. We are in the Truman Show. It's ooky. People like to use the Matrix. I think it gives them some type of power. You're correct. I think the Truman Show is a much better exemplar. It also makes me think of Pleasantville somehow. I suppose it's because Prince was trying to tell us then. Yo, wake up. I was blessed to have amazing parents who understood that representation mattered from the giddy up. So my parents put into us who we were from day one. I've always known that I present as a black woman from the South or anything else, because that's how the world sees me, regardless of how I see myself. Over the years, other things have been added to that. Mother, chef, writer, diagnoses have come along the way: autism spectrum disorder, diabetes, high blood pressure. None of those things are definers to who I am. They're simply a part of my recipe, my makeup. The palette used to paint my life. And my life's been painted with these bright and amazing colors. I've seen things far and wide, yet to come, unimagined, imagined, and always. No one can take that from me. And so this will continue. YouTube will continue to cherry pick and do what it does. The people behind the scenes will move the way that they move, and some of us will be martyred, and some of us will receive our flowers, and some of us will make it yet. Oh, Mark, what YouTube will be 5 years from now, honey? I know. What's that? When you see this, when on the drug show, this right here, whatever's in that spoon, that'll be YouTube in 5 years. You understand? That'll be YouTube in 5 years. You haven't figured out how to unplug from this shit periodically or on a regular goddamn basis. Look at the metaverse. Just unplug entirely. Weaponize your ability to say fucking no. How about them apples? Do that. Some of you are already out here acting like y'all got that damn crack itch. Ernest Hodges. Sir, I apologize for whatever role it is that I may have played in your undoing. It was unintentional in its entirety. I say your name today because I believe that you're still there and you can come back from this. You need to unplug from YouTube. At least 3 to 6 months, brother. You look like an entirely different person than when you came into this space, in not a healthy way. And I mean this with no hate, no shade, and there was never any love in the first place for us to worry about. You are unwell. Many of you have become addicted to this beast. It is attention driven and ego boosting, soul snatching. You will fall prey to BS and nonsense before you ever know it. And that is why, my headphones do that sometimes. They just pop out on me. I don't even recognize it, but we're sitting here. Oh yeah, no, people don't read the terms of service. I admit to even I didn't read all of the terms of service. Excuse me. Ugh, gross. I didn't read all the terms of service, yet I do understand the basics because I've been reading government contracts and corporate bullshit for a long time. Most people don't even understand contracts, though, Mark, to be able to understand the terms of service, and they won't admit to it. Understand? That's one of our biggest problems. We don't like to say we don't know. We don't like to ask for help. And we don't want to be taught or told anything. So we have to learn the hard way. Please give me a chat and let me know that a 5 in the chat and let me know that the sound is okay. Oh, well, great. Mark commented and that helps too. Thank you guys. Daniel and I often have, talks about the what ifs of the world. And I've told you all in this community before that there was a time in history when we went a year without sun due to some volcanic things that were going on. But we went the world went a year without sun, basically. Yeah. Mark, I think it's time to stop censoring. I know it's time for us to stop censoring ourselves. Period. It may hurt someone's feelings. Better their feelings today than their lives tomorrow. Feelings are like assholes. Everybody got them. Not everybody knows how to clean them. What do you want from me? Yeah. Everyone goes through feels. Feel yourself into a different headspace. Clean up your whole house. Before the end of this month, I will have GI partied this entire freaking apartment. And if y'all don't know what that means, hunty, I've already started detailed reorganizing the kitchen, including the groceries that we got. They are dated, labeled, and So, this is where the storage containers are for mostly Daniel's lunch, right? So he loves bananas, so there's the bananas, and then our storage containers are all set and ready to go. I like sweet tea, and we both need water, and I can't drink cold beverages straight out of the fridge because it hurts my tummy. Okay, and then here, this is how organized our freezer is. This is what I did last night: unpacked everything, reorganized it, packed it up, put it together. Oh, Jesus, don't look down there. It's a little bit dirty. But everything has a space, a place. It's got a home. It's where it's supposed to be. This is how we need to understand the world. We've got to be able to do different, to teach others to do different. In a world of chaos, we have to create the organization. I say this all the time. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world. And in order to see change, you have to do different daily. Because what is the one thing that they say? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. That is living in the Matrix. That is living in the Truman Show. That is Pleasantville. That is comfort. That's security to you because you don't have to move, work hard, do hard, play hard, be hard. We live in a time where they will call the sane insane, where they're calling men women, and no one is protecting children. Again, this is not a shot fired. This is an understanding of what's going on in the world, what our children are witnessing today. I think of Darrell Long, Leia, my cousin Cash and his siblings, and I recognize that they're the generation witnessing our greatest failures. We don't enact change before they become parents. Ain't no stopping us now. It's time to go. The world as we know it will definitely be at its end. We've already sold so much of our children's opportunities in order to survive the pandemic. You heard? It is painful, Mark. I recognize that should Daniel and I have a child together, they'll be born into darkness. There'll be no light. And they will have given up on love, regardless of how bright I burn today. Once that light is out, it's out. Once that flame is gone, it's gone. The eternal energy that is, has, and always will be will return to the source. Because the mothers of the universe have had enough, and our children can't take anymore. I know, Mark. There are many young men and women who decided to do it right, you know? They're like, nah, I witnessed my parents, I went what they went through. And my parents, even though what they went through, they poured love into me so that I could have a different outcome. And I'm fighting to put in for a different outcome. And here you are, Mark, you and Daniel, and my son Nathaniel, and you want marriage and you want children, and yet you don't want to leave them this. I don't want to leave it to you. So I'll get up. I fight. I had gastric bypass surgery so that I could change my life and live to see my sons graduate from high school. And then, praise the Lord, just as they all were graduating from high school in that 4 to 6 year frame, right? I was blindsided with loss and diagnosis and grief and death, and it could have been anything, you know? Next year, it'll be 10 years since Sharif passed. There's no justice. I still have no answers. And at that time, I couldn't even say that I thought I kind of liked or loved him because I am still married to a narcissistic son of a bitch. Who the fact that love isn't a capability at this point. And we've been separated for at least Jesus Christ. He still won't sign a piece of paper. Over a retirement portion that I earned. Because I helped you get from E4 to E5, sir. Because I was there for him at every goddamn deployment. Because I pushed out those 3 men, gave them your last name. Because I stood on this hill for 26 years and stood in front of bullets for them to exist and for you to have an opportunity to have a relationship with them. I know, Mark. But why is it fair for him to have a hold on me when I've long since told him it's okay, you can go away, I've been fighting by myself? I've been protecting us from you since the first time you put your hands on me. Why is it okay for him to have this hold, control, and why won't the government help me get him off? Why was I a benefit to them when they needed spouses to understand and not complain? But now I don't exist. I'm just a fucking dependent. I stood up in the spaces and places that motherfuckers will never go. Oh, excuse me. I've run real world missions in real time in order to make sure that people's children could get fed in the midst of snowstorms and bullshit. Even in the midst of war, he was a bumbling idiot. I do not sit here today because of decisions that I made wrong. I sit here today because an entire population of people throws the status quo over the truth. I agree, Mark. It's part of the system failure. When I went up during my near death experience, that's what it was like. I had to go up there and I was just going off. Mark, I told you. That I've not heard many stories like my own. Hey, my love. I know, baby. I know that you are going to ensure that the divorce happens the same way that you surprised me um, with the funds to get the process started again in the first place. Sorry, guys. You surprised me by commenting in the chat. I forgot what I was saying. I love you, babe. Um, yes, it is part of the system failure. Oh, Mark, and I know that it has to happen, and but it was just like, yo, Homie, you told me if I walk right, act right, talk right, if I walk like a child of God, if I speak like a child of God, if I do like a child of God, if I am a child of my Creator, you covered me, you got me, and mine. And then I look at what my children are living and witnessing. The hell y'all done did? My godly father, my earthly mother, my mama was like, baby, hold on. Nah, Pippin, nah, we're not holding on for shit. What's going on? Look at these babies. They're children who cannot sleep at home, who can't sleep on the bus, who can't sleep at school, who can't eat nowhere, who cannot live in peace. You cannot tell me this is what we are here for. Just tell me that this is what their outcome is supposed to be. I can't take it. I refuse. You will send me back and you will fix this shit. You owe all of us. That was the argument that I had. And I had to explain to them why I was standing next to a man who was more than 20 years my junior and not the one that I was married to by man's law. Well, by man's law, I had to do some certain things in order to be able to live a certain life, in order to be able to bring forth the children that I did, the experiences that I had, and all those things, to be able to walk this walk and speak to everybody that I speak to today and pour into them whatever it is that they may need in the moment. And you can say that my punishment for choosing to follow man's law over the creators, signing those documents and agreeing to those things that I know or knew weren't exactly right or righteous at the time. My punishment for that to some of you could be the lived existence that I have today. And yet I say unto you, no. We all show up and show out in the time that we're needed. Not all of us are warriors. Some of us are rebels. And some of us are revolutionary. There are many times that I could have spoken in the same way and be unheard or unseen. I've been running my mouth like this since I was 16 years old. I've been attached to the government since I was about 4. Any number of times, any number of ways, I have lifted my voice in support of my people, in support of my nation, in support of what's right, in the face of whatever to myself. And as Mark said, it's all come at a price. I live with complex PTSD with dissociative identity disorder, and I have a autoimmune illness known as fibromyalgia, which means that even when you don't think so, I am in pain from bone to skin. I use cannabis on camera to help you understand that there are some in this world who choose simply to be as natural as possible in their healing processes versus managing, coping, or being comfortable while getting well. So I had to go through all the things that I went through, including being dragged down the steps in February so that I could speak for someone who's still locked inside of themselves after being dragged down proverbial steps. I speak for those who don't recognize yet that it is they who are killing themselves by not getting up out that hospital bed. I'm going to say something right now, you guys, and please understand this is not a shot. I've said this several times in this live stream. Clip this, send it to them both. I don't mind. Or all of them, whomever. I believe that it's QB. And hey, Partly Cloudy, glad to see you, fella. And Mr. Best in the World. You all have a platform together in the intellectual soapbox. Use it to speak about your life with what's going on right now and how it's hard for you to get up and do some shit. And then get up and do some shit every goddamn day and do it different every day until it's no longer hard and you're tackling something else. You want a cheerleader? I'll be your cheerleader. Give me something to cheer for. Get up and run your damn race. Yours. That's the time that we are in. Mark says that's why he sent you Daniel, so he can love you through it, JP. Mark, dadgummit. You. It's very funny the entire time. It was look up to God and then look to Daniel. I was going through some things. I saw some things. I experienced some things. You said cheer you on? Partly Cloudy said cheer me on by smoking the blunt. Hey, I'm not doing the blunt this morning, but I can do a bowl for you. Actually, you know what? I can do a blunt this morning. Now that I think about it, I've already gone for my walk. The house is pretty much organized for the next phases of cleaning. Partly Cloudy, are you prior military? Or anyone in the chat, if you're prior military, do you know what a GI party is? He said bowl, blunt, joint, let's get it heard. I am in the midst of preparing the space basically for a GI party. Or kitchen appreciation if you're a culinarian. So I've already begun to appreciate the kitchen. I've got to pull out the fridge and wipe off all the things. You guys, I cleaning gives me a sense of peace. And if you're someone who's into the metaphysical, my dad and 3 brothers and 2 kudos to the generational military. Send them veterans my way. I got some love for the fellas. Yo, that's some legacy right there. You said your dad, your sons, and a nephew? Or your dad, your brothers? Holy cow, dude. Oh, Partly Cloudy. Stop playing. You've been 420 friendly too long. You know, here's the thing though. To my ex, he had to, so, you know, when you join, you have to fill out all the required documentation or whatever. You fill out this SF86 something. I can't remember the number on that thing. But anyway, you fill out the documentation. And as Partly Cloudy said, they ask you whether or not you smoked in the thing. And then they're going to give you a P test separately. And so the best thing, guys, if you're going to try to go, even today, you're going to go in the military, go ahead and tell them that you smoke, have smoked, and how recently or whatever, and then deal with it. The thing is you don't want to lie. Just go ahead and tell the truth about the situation and then deal with the consequences as they may. Wow. Partly Claudia said that his he had family in the Marines, Army, and Air Force, and then a friend from high school went to the Navy. That's amazing. Leathernecks and devil dogs are in my... All right, you guys. Look at you. Listen, that's the thing about it. Even unindoctrinated, I love the military community because we understand building community. Y'all, in July, for the 4th of July weekend, I had a close friend, and I'm willing to call her that because we've known each other, we raised our children together at times, and we haven't seen each other since I graduated from culinary school in 2013 or longer. She was here in country after being overseas where she works. And she was here in country to visit. And I just happened to say, hey, when's the next time you want to come visit? She's like, I'll be there next weekend. Facts? Say word. Say less. Oh my God. And so, yes, Mark, you said that I am loved. You're right. It's just that the way that I'm loved is different. And today I recognize that I have to be willing to say, I need help. I need people. I need you. Well, that's what I've been on the journey to learn thus far and to be able to accept love in whatever form that it comes. I've been doing that since I lost Sharif Muhammad in 2014. Because Sharif, much like Daniel and many of the people who have come into my life who wanted to be a part of my life, was much younger than me. Shit. It was like, he's just much younger. An adult, of course. Um, it's kind of funny, actually. Now that I think about it, when I was in culinary school in the beginning, I was like 36. And the young gentleman that I was dating when my ex found out that I was seeing other people was about 21 or 22. Sharif was about that age too. And then there's Daniel. 11. The numbers and the stars lining up kind of scares me a little. There's something big afoot. I pray that my death in February was the last one that I have to experience for a while. As sure as I know I came back from that, I surely know I can come back from a mother loss. It's just, how would I come back? And kudos to you, Mark. The other day when you said, JP, stop fussing at God, he could call you back. That night, the next morning, an amazing display of God's power took place just above my head. Lightning so close, I could see it through my third eye. And yet I was at peace. Hurt less than normal. Slept like a baby. Times they are changing. Mark says we all need each other, but we need to leave toxicity at the door. Safe spaces. You know, Mark, I agree, yet the idea of creating safe spaces is why we have no safe spaces. I recognized it early on when we had parents who were doing the whole I'm just going to douse my baby in sanitizer all the time thing. Excuse me, guys, I'm just getting tissue. You know, mothers, sending their kids to daycare with, oh, he's allergic to this and he can't have that. And he can't just, oh, he's in danger every time that he breathes. Just be careful. He's gonna have a human problem. He's gonna have an existing problem if you let him get too close to anything. He can't have any cooties. He can't. Oh no, he breathed the air today at the other daycare. Dear Jesus. The over frantic mama. Woo! Glory, child. Running the daycare, that was some of the most difficult stuff for me. Mark, you're adorable, and you're correct. The Lord did let me know that He still loves me, despite my mouth, because I did not get struck by lightning at any time, and Lord knows that I could have. Daniel, I told Daniel that I kept having this urge to go outside during the storm, and if you understand autism spectrum disorder, there's an urge, yeah, a drive, damn near. So I ended up going on that anyway. So there's a drive to go out, and so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go stand on the porch. I ain't going that far. I'm not gonna take no chances with y'all. I know how petty y'all can be. Listen, the Creator made me, so whatever petty I have, they are that exemplified. You understand? Or amplified. Excuse me. Right? I was made in my Creator's image. You heard? Right, Mark, you have to do it. So I had to go outside. Yet I wasn't going too far outside. And I was letting them know, listen, I trust y'all. I went on a trust fall with my ancestors. I went on a trust fall with my Creator. I understand my role, my goal. I understand that now is the time for me to do this while they finish putting the other stuff together. I get that part. Yet and still, I wasn't trying to be the human conduit for the lightning strike that was trying to go from my third eye all the way to, not today, homie. No. It reminded me of that movie, Phenomenon. Is that it? Phenomenon, I believe, with John Travolta. Yeah. For some time now, I've recognized that is what's going on with me. Anyone who's watched that movie, in some way, I've recognized these things longer than, since the movie's been around. I've kind of understood in a way to make it make sense. So anyway, Mark. See, Mark, no. Mark said it may come that way, JP. And Mark, if you mean I'm gonna stand outside and the Lord is gonna smite me in the forehead, Harry Potter style, y'all better start looking for the damn thingy now, because the closest y'all gonna get is when I take that deep pull and the vein, and I cough in the vein right here, start to do the thing, because there ain't no way in hell. Thank you, Mark. Mark was like, nah, JP, God ain't gonna kill you with the lightning strike. Oh, shit. Okay, wait a minute, you guys. I promised Partly Cloudy that I was gonna take this hit. Partly Cloudy, my bad. I got one in the bowl. If you're still here, this was for you. And Mark, that you better be laughing right now, because if you don't imagine it, I just see the lightning bolt strike right to my forehead and information. Like, yo, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. This conversation has gone so far left from where I started. I started out talking about racism and stuff at YouTube, and we over here talking about, Lord have mercy. Shout out to the family. Much love to the community. Mark, you want to know how much I know that the world is changing and lining some things up? There are videos that I have talking about cousins, and there are other folks in the space who talk about cousins. Things just move together the way that they're supposed to, when they're supposed to. Perhaps I'm out in front. Perhaps I'm right in the middle of the bubble. Rarely do I seem to be behind. I appreciate that. Gotta get my timing right, I suppose. And yet, There's some things that are still being worked on inside of me, healing some things. When you get pulled down some steps, that's traumatic brain injury. I had to fix some of the wiring up here. Cannabis helps. The ancestors told me a secret back in February that helped with it quite a bit. Not willing to reveal that in this space because it's dangerous. The best that I can say. Mark says, think about it. You, JP, said it in the other stream. You talking to the tornado. Yeah, the tornado that happened here, there was a microburst in Phoenix. The gigantic storm over my head. The fact that I physically, literally, and metaphorically feel like I'm about to give birth all the time. That I'll be turning 47 this year. In the grand scheme of symbology, numbers, and understanding, I reached master level. Super Saiyan JP. Oh, is he communicating? Mark, can't sleep, can't eat, can't do nothing without him talking to me. It was not him, it's them. I mean them, I mean the ancestors. Again, my mama, my godfather, my grandfather, Cherie, my best friend Ernest from when I was 16 years old, who passed away from cancer. My cousin Terry, who drowned on a Boy Scout trip when we were little children in Memphis, Tennessee. They all visit. Mark, it's because I had to learn to be able to hear them so that I could share their messages to the people who need to let them go. And by them, there are those who have crossed over who are bound to this space because we won't let them go. There are those who cannot cross over and need to. They hurt all the time. They can't cross over because we can't let them go. We bound them to worldly things, and they are unworldly beings, otherworldly beings. Excuse me. In February, just before I crossed over, or just before I crossed over in February, I left messages for folks from the Creator to them. You know how they say some people need Jesus on the main line. I left messages, or I gave messages from my mother to my family members, her children, her sister. People who say that they are okay. And yet you can see that somehow they are still stuck. As much as I was concerned about being a conduit for the energy that is lightning to pass through me in that storm, I recognize that I cannot be afraid to be the vessel through which my Creator speaks, nor my ancestors, or the spirits. I suppose soon I'll be labeled a heretic, let alone, or along with being a hedonist or a heathen, or just not good black. Mark said, tell them what you want. In fact, Mark, that's exactly how it went. Hey, you say you want Jesus on the main line. He picked up. What you want? If you ain't ready to answer, you better stop calling. Because he'll come a knocking. For some of you, he already asked. I asked this question in the Facebook group. If, pardon, why are we so concerned with what Jesus looked like versus how he'll appear today? Mark, I do heed the call. The thing is I understand that I can't. I understand that. Again, there are more. The universe needs to line up a whole lot more, just like aligning the stars. Right? It's not just me. Yet I may be the sun to Darrell Long's Jupiter, so to speak. There's a balance that's got to happen. So I'm waiting now for those who are supposed to be in a particular place at a particular time, and that is not up to me, and so in a sense unknown to me. I do know that there is an alignment, and I do know kind of how those others will appear. Yet, um, as I've said, like I said before, if you imagine a lightning strike to your dome, you can't do that. You can't take all that in at one time. It'll stop your heart. Exactly, Mark. He's still working behind the scenes. And as sure as my heart stopped in February, and with no other will but my Creator and my love for him, myself, and Daniel, you know, all that we've created thus far, I'm here. It wasn't man's created EMS. It wasn't the so called authority given to men in uniform. It was my faith in my Creator. Daniel's love for me and our faith in that kept me alive and kept the rhythm going and continues to do so. So, yeah, Mark, I know that he's working on something really big. My divorce attorney told me at the beginning of the summer that my divorce should be over at the end of the summer. The job that I want is right inside of my grasp. Called my dad yesterday. Told him I needed to call in the heavy hitters on this one. You know, yeah, and Debbie, y'all go ahead and do that metaphysical rain dance, pray up thing that y'all do. Let's go ahead and run this race so my dad can have another 30 peaceful years wherever he chooses without having to deal with the bullshit. Because I won't allow him to go into a home unless that's his wish on his terms. He deserves and earned better than a fucking VA hospital. I don't care what anybody says. It's another system that's failing us. And I refuse to fail my father because he never, ever failed me. Heavenly or earthly. My father's always been by my side. And my mother has always been with me. I had hoped my children would be able to say that. Perhaps their children will be able to say it again, and we can change things. If not, I pray my children remember that I was always in their corner, by their side, fighting for their future. And they'll pour love into their children the way that I did into them so that there can be a future. We'll see, though. We'll see. But yeah, Mark, it's going to be huge. So, how about one theme song before we get out of here? Maybe a couple. Who knows? We'll see. This one is for you, though, my love. And I am going to get my other cannabis ready, but y'all don't have to worry about that part. Let's go. I don't know what you're going through, but we stopped by to tell you that what's in front of you is bigger than what's behind you. Your destiny, your promise, your future. You might as well shout before you get it, because God sent me here to tell you that what He has for you is good. Bart, did you see my Chadar video? I don't have to fight as hard to be able to play music. Still got to fight some. But I made a little change from way down here. That it's my time. That it's my time. It's my time. And I can feel it. I can feel it. Say breakthroughs in the room. Breakthroughs in the room. It's yours if you want it. Anticipating. God's getting ready to move. God's getting ready to move. Listen, you ought to declare this over your own life. Say it. For I know that God is worth a miracle. Ah! You're Freddie Mark. Because I watched my mother make her transition. Yeah, Mark, my mother earned her transition at home with her family. I intend to do the same. I also intend to earn another 30, 40 fucking years on this planet at a minimum. So y'all better get ready to hear my voice loud and proud. Get used to seeing me, goddammit. No more than 24, 48 hours. 48 hours you ain't heard from JP, you better start looking for me. Something's going wrong. The windows of heaven pour me out a blessing. Don't even try to explain it, and it's gonna be God is about to. And it's gonna be. Hey! I know it's gonna be. Let it be. My future is big. My destiny's big. My promise is big. The new job will be big. My future is big. Lord, let it be big. And it's gonna be. God is about to blow my. God's gonna open the windows up. Ah! Don't even try to. And it's gonna be. The artist name, Mark, is Pastor Mike Jr. The song is titled Big and it came out in 2019. It's going to be that big. For the 26 years that I have been a wife, mother, military volunteer, chef, unicorn extraordinaire, I know my creator is working on something that freaking big and phenomenal. For the 21 years that I was blessed to have my mother in my life, and the few that I've lived longer than she did thus far, all the love that she poured into the world, she poured into me. And I have done my best to amplify that shit. So whatever my creator has planned for me, it's greater than a microburst in Phoenix and a tornado touching down only in Arizona on a Sunday. Times are changing. I'm prepared. I hope others are too. If they're not, that's not up to me. All I can do is leave them breadcrumbs. One more theme song. What the heck? Because this one is how I understood, Mark, that the music still matters, that it's a way to communicate through space and time. So we'll leave breadcrumbs for those who can't, don't, won't know how to get out of the system. Someone has to give them agency. Mark says, JP, more than your hands and heart can hold. Possibly even my head too, Mark. That's the breadcrumbs.
Why always feel like
I've been knowing you since
89. Why come God gave you a smile that turned back time? Who gave us sleep
to love like
this? So we insane.
Grandma, granddaddy, even though he forgot our names. Where they do that at?
Guess we better find a new planet. How they get like that? Happens sometimes you can't plan it.
What? Leave me breadcrumbs for the ride to guide me back. Leave me breadcrumbs for the ride to guide me back. Hey! For the ride to guide me back. What time is it, y'all? It's almost 8 o'clock in Arizona. Daniel will be home in about an hour or so. It's Thursday. I think that we should have a day date. Usually when we day date, I choose an OG strain so that we can be close. We did that yesterday though. So let's focus on getting the house taken care of today. And we're gonna go with some Agent Orange. Hey, look, there it is, Mark. That's the closest you're gonna get to that lightning strike right there. I have consumed way too much media in my life when I can make all these ridiculous references. Oh, y'all, please forgive me. I appreciate y'all for appreciating me. Daniel definitely for loving me. Hopefully as much as I love you. Close. I'm absolutely goofy. He said we were close yesterday, my love. Indeed, love, but that was yesterday. Today is a new day. So now wait a minute. Are you about to tell the entire internet that you, a young man in your 20s, needs to go? What are you saying, my love? What are you about to tell the world right now about our closeness? As the alarm goes off, today is a new day. Indeed, it is, my dear. Indeed, it is, and all of that limonene and citrusiness going on in this Agent Orange will really boost our spirits and our energy levels. You should be feeling a little pain. You ate damn near a whole mango last night. So anyway, that might be a bit of an overshare, y'all. Actually, not a bit, a whole bunch of an overshare. But y'all love me, and I appreciate that. Y'all love us, and we appreciate that. Because there's a whole group of people trying to figure out how to judge us on a regular basis. When if they could just lean into loving us, they too could have a joyful journey. I'm going to take this moment. Mama, I love you. You called me. Shout out to the big boys, especially the light-skinned ones. I'll be right back. I think I'm gonna make me a hot toddy in a bit. I haven't had my morning bath yet. So I might take a medicated bath before Daniel gets home or as he's on his way home. Prep all of the ingredients for breakfast and a day date. And then wait. It's nice. I was a stay-at-home mother for 12 years. There were very few times I was excited to see him come home. I joyfully anticipate Daniel's arrival. I wish more people could have that. Unless before they open the door to their home or attempt to access your heart. That's just me. People tell me I'm a dying breed. Some even say I'm one of a kind. I disagree. Just gotta get healthy, stronger, shine brighter. So all I can do is attract more energy like me and less negativity. It's changing faster now than it was before. If this last year felt like pulling teeth, this next year is going to feel like a speedy recovery. It's still going to be a little bit painful, you know, but we'll make it. Shout out to everybody who watched this video. I appreciate you, this live stream. Please make sure you do all the subscribe and share and da. Anywho, let me see. Daniel says, after going back and watching a few of Corey's first videos, I realized that his channel was created quite literally for him to share his interests, creativity, play video games, and speak about his lived experiences. Right. And through the years, YouTube has profited off of that. He grew from being his genuine self. He didn't corral together and do all the algorithm jockeying, all the nonsense. What you're seeing in that case is the commodification of community building. Now it's who can build the biggest, strongest community in this space. Oh no, Mark! Which comment isn't there? We saw the day comment. We appreciate it. I apologize. But yet, Corey grew his platform organically. And that is the goal of any business. But when I say his platform, I mean Corey's an entire brand in one person at this point. You understand? He grew that through his authenticity, his willingness to turn on the camera and speak openly and honestly to his community, the people who showed up to listen to him, who shared common interests and backgrounds, or perhaps wanted to learn something different from someone different. YouTube chose not to see the value in that part until Corey started to say, or chose to say, hey, you're doing something inappropriate. Thank you, Mark. We're coming to accept love from you all as well. It's hinky out here, you know. You know how we are as a people. I'm making the presumption that you're a brown dude, but anyway, you know how people are. It's hard to accept love on face value. Look at the people in this space who will tell you they love you and don't. They'll fake the funk for the, that's one. You know something with the funk? Wherever you are out there in the world, I pray you're doing okay. Despite the fact that you told me that I was evil because I wouldn't give up on a man, I pray that you and yours have found peace in the world. Because from what I could tell, you were alone over there well before you found my platform. I pray you aren't alone anymore. Times are changing. Things are getting hard. I hope you were able to grow that community in Germany that you spoke of. Simon, wherever you are, told you. You might have your plan. The creator has a different. Whenever you're ready to jump, they're ready to catch you. Mark, you're adorable. If this bowl is me cheerleading for Partly Cloudy before 420, Mark, you are a JP and Daniel cheerleader. We appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you at whatever the finish line it happens to be. How about that? How do you feel about the desert, Mark? Any thoughts on Arizona becoming beachfront property? I've been saying that about as long as I've been saying I want to be able to sit on my porch and smoke my glaucoma medicine with my best friend. If there's anybody that I would say is a friend to me today, it'd be Daniel. We don't get to sit on the porch as often because, well, God dog it, it's hot. And yet, I get to do it with the one I love. And that's wonderful to me. So, I am going to get ready to get myself up out of here. I've been here for 2 hours, unanticipated. I didn't know how long this was going to be. And I didn't even fire up the restream, funny enough. Um, I don't know. Let everybody else do all that other stuff. Hell, they made me pretend like they don't know that it exists. Because hell, until yesterday, some of them didn't even know that they had Corey Extension to thank for their ability to be in this space and move the way that they do. They really thought that they had done something unique and amazing, all their own. Thank you, Mark. You says true love, great to see it. I want it. Oh, Mark, honey, I hope that you get it at a cheaper cost. No offense to you. No offense to my love, really. We've gone through a lot. In some ways, we've still got some proving to do to others, yet to ourselves, we're understanding more and more daily. What's for us is for us. Only we can understand that, see and recognize it for what it is. Others will put their perspective on it. That's why there's a book. That's why the YouTube channel. That's why a documentary. That's why Mark says you've been through. That's why you deserve it. Thank you, Mark. And yet, here's the thing. If I've been through and I deserve it at 46, almost 47, what has Daniel been through that he deserves it at 22? What are the generations witnessing, experiencing? What are we missing? What can we heal? What are we harboring? There's so many things. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, you guys. He's an amazing man. If my father and my godfather and my grandfather have foundational names that they can stand on, so does he. I've never been more at peace than I am today. Daniel's heart is bigger than I know. Man. I don't know, Mark. I feel like mine fills my entire chest cavity. I got kind of a small chest. I love him. I love you, babe. I'm just teasing. His heart is huge. His shoulders are stronger than I ever imagined. He recognizes me at times when I'm not sure I recognize me. And certainly when others wouldn't. I hear you, Mark. That's how God works. In February, when I was going through, right? After my heart stopped, came back, and they sent the police back out here again. I had to make a choice between who was going to help me stay alive at home and who was going to put me in the hospital. Between Daniel, this man that I'd known and loved for 2 years, and my son, who I'd raised for the last 21. In order to save me, I chose Daniel. There are many times when I wonder, did I choose correctly? Yet, as sure as I am here today, and Mark can tell you, it's going to be bigger than my hands and my heart can carry. As painful as the decision was, it was the right one. My child, who's known me his entire life, would have said, well, she's got this diagnosis, this diagnosis. Let's just take her to the hospital. In fact, that's exactly what he did do. It was Daniel who came and got me. Even though we had nothing. And everything that I had gone through was going to make it that much more difficult. There are times, Mark, when I am afraid now. Not afraid. It's not fair. It's simply that there are times that I recognize, even through all of that, I could still lose him. And I'm okay with that. Mark's about to perform the wedding ceremony right here, babe. Chill out. Um, I do love him. And if you know or understand anything about a lot with complex PTSD with dissociative identity disorder, it's a lot of work and a lot of love, a lot of trust on both sides. No matter the outcome between the two of us, we'll always have us. And we'll always have this. That's just me saying I recognize that everything in my life is, has, and always will be up to my creator, not up to me. My battery's gonna die, you guys. I need to clean my face and get my accurate right. So I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you all for tuning in. Mark says his shoulders are built for it. Okay, Mark. You boost his ego. I can't do it all the time. Excuse me. Oh, snotty face. I really gotta go now. All right. Keep your spirit up. We'll see you in the streams. Deuces.